Well, and as promised, a small addition. There were a couple places where I nearly failed. I think even the DP did not realize a couple of them, or at least one. Or maybe he knew what's going on, but he definitely did not make it obvious or mention it. The first one, remember how I told you about that ODP? Instruction was climb 3400, hold over Caravelis. Well, that was my plan, and I kept telling my ATC that I'm climbing 3400. Pretty sure in real life ATC would correct me and give me instruction to climb 4000. Instead, my DP asked me once again to repeat the altitude I'm climbing. And that set up my thought process of why did he do that? And go back and then mentally verify all that I'm doing. Sure enough, my craft clearance right there on the notepad said 4000. When I was able to catch that, I updated my climb target, the altitude bug, and immediately DP noticed that, and that's when I received vectors for the next step. Well, that's why we have two-way communication. You don't assume, you confirm, you read back instructions, and that helps to catch those errors. Number two, when I was being vectored for RNF 17 approach, arriving on the path, I did not do all the steps at each PTAC instruction received from ATC, and with that I nearly missed activating the correct lag on the GPS. But since I had my iPad with me and I was watching the moving screen, I realized that the CDI is not giving me instructions as I would expected. What is going on? What am I missing? And immediately activated the right leg of the approach. I did that almost to 100 feet within the final approach course, almost missing that. If I would have missed that, that could be a definitely black mark on my checkride. Would that be a fail? Hard to tell, but that situation like that can easily turn into the fail if you create effectively a pilot deviation. So situational awareness and knowing what to expect. Remember that wire checklist, what to expect. And of course knowledge of avionics on your plane that helps you stay out of situations like this. Number three, final circling to land approach at Sierra 12. I was so focused on keeping the minimal descent altitude all the way to the airport. Then I take off the hood, I have the airport inside, I start to circle, I still keep the minimal descent altitude, I get on the downwind, keep the minimal descent altitude, then I get on base, and then finally I'm mentally relieved of that MDA and I start descent. I announce my intentions that I'm landing, descending to the runway 34. And there was a beautiful sunny day, very bright sun shining right like at my back, 34, so midday, it's about right. The sun was so bright, VASI lights were not apparent at all on the runway, and I did not make an effort to look for them. So at the debrief I asked, was this a big deal? And he said that checkride, IFR checkride is not about the landing, but that is nothing to be proud of course. So don't forget your private pilot skills. Even as you're taking IFR checkride, they still are important. Would they make you fail? Not necessarily, but I hear that this one could be very DP dependent. Technically, if you're below the glide slope, even at 200 feet AGL, you're still below the glide slope. So don't do that, just don't go below glide slope. And one other, number four, not a fail, but just an afterthought that I realized in recent days as I was writing the script. I received the craft clearance, I opened the IFR flight plan, although simulated, and when I landed at non-towered airport, I never closed it. I was so worried about that below the glide slope landing that the only question I asked is basically, did I pass? And check ride was over. I'm still thinking I should send DPE a text message, hey, please close the flight plan for RV317 Victor Alpha. But well, jokes aside, don't forget to do that on a check ride, and especially on a real IFR flight. With that, have good flights, stay well, stay safe, and don't stop to learn, because the good pilot is always learning, as my favorite YouTube channel says.